Trustee meetings by Trustee Baldonado, so thank you for doing this and pulling us all together. I just wanted to go over a couple of slides and then I'm going to turn it over to our architect Glenn Darling to go over the presentation that he presented at the Board of Trustees meeting, and then President Corcoran is going to come up and take some questions from the audience. So I just want to give an update as to the timeline and kind of go through a couple of things, if you can sort of see this here. We had started this endeavor back in May 2022, so 3 years ago, and carried that through. That was the New College Challenge for those of you that were here and remembered that endeavor that we did. Held our first collaborative master planning session with the community on December 8th in 2023. Subsequently held another session that was a roundtable discussion with I think we had over 300 people there. On January 22nd, 2024, and then restarted again back in July and held our, July 15th, we held our public information session in this room, and subsequently on July 22nd, had our first public hearing on the campus master plan, and with public comment, and held that. Now we're here today, of course. Subsequent also to the public hearing, we had launched the 90-day agency review, which is required by the regulations and statutes for the campus master plans pursuant to a Florida statute and Board of Governors regulations. But we kicked off our 90-day review on August 18th. That will run until November 16th. And during that time, this is why we're here, and we're receiving feedback, and we've already gotten quite a bit from the community, as well as a few agencies have already reached out on a couple of things that they have questions on, so we're actively working through that process now. By December, we don't have an exact date yet, but by December we anticipate having our final hearing on the campus master plan, and at that point it would be voted in by the Board of Trustees. I just want to remind everyone of those regulations I mentioned earlier, that we do have Florida statute 1013.30 that we are mandated to follow for the campus master plan, along with Board of Governors regulation chapter 21 that outlines all of the specifics that we have to include in the master plan, and you'll hear about some of those right now from Glenn. So if you want to go ahead and come up and start going through the plan.
Thank you very much. And I'm Glenn Darling. I'm the principal architect at Hall Darling Design Studio, and we've been working on.
Speak up a little bit.
We have been working on the master plan almost since the beginning. I'm just going to go through a couple of these slides to kind of talk about kind of the scope of the master plan and some of the major goals that we were trying to achieve. I think this first slide is just illustrating the whole campus and the different parts, I think, but it also illustrates one of the challenges of New College, in that the campus is somewhat fractured. We have the campus bifurcated by US 41, it's also bifurcated by Bayshore, and also the Ringling Museum. And now we have a new campus, which was actually added after we started on this process, which is the North Campus. So one of the goals of the master plan as a whole is to try to unify and increase circulation, parking, transportation, all of these things, so the campus feels a little bit more unified. This is a future land use map. Again, this is not too much different than the slide that you just saw, but just illustrating some of the ownerships and some of the leased areas of campus. This really hasn't changed much. This slide is a really good illustration of kind of where we are now and where we're intending to go. There's always when you see this much change, and I'm sure you all can see that there's quite a bit of change between these two master plans, there's usually a pretty big impetus. And that, I think, one of those things, one of those generators for the amount of change is the introduction of the athletics program, and trying to find a home base and sort of consolidate that program. And that is mostly going on the east side of campus. As you can see, we have all the athletic fields there. And some of the program that has been on the east side of the campus has had to migrate to the west side of campus. And so that's kind of, I think, captures one of the major things that has really affected kind of the placement of the buildings and the shifting around of the program. This is not all happening at the same time. So this diagram illustrates kind of the phasing plan for the master plan. So the orange illustrates kind of this phase one, which we're kind of 1 to 4 years out from that. Some of the larger athletic fields and athletic complexes, the repurposing of the pay dorms, that all happens in phase 2. And then the final phase will be the North Campus and the Freedom Institute. This is just showing the uses, and I think this kind of illustrates what I was talking about between the east and the west side of campus. And the east side of campus, a lot of those new athletic programs are landing over there. There are currently dorms there that will remain dorms. There's also the pay dormitories, which historically have been dorms, but they will be repurposed and adaptively reused for different programs that better match, the athletic program and what will be happening on that side of campus. So some of the residential capacity will have to move to the west side of campus. And I think this is a good thing for connectivity. As you can see, we have a really diverse mixed use that's happening over on the west side of campus now, with residences, administration, and academics kind of all focused around this quad. So that's really good especially for pedestrian circulation around campus and students moving kind of through the daily college life, in a particular day. Focusing on the west side of campus now, I think one of the strategies here was to try to group all of the new development and densify that in a particular part of campus. Because we're dealing with a very traditional existing site plan with the very historic buildings and this really strong central access that connects the gate to College Hall. We decided to build on that and create more of a traditional quad with smaller courtyards off of that quad for the residences. We're thinking that each of these kind of little smaller quads off the big quad will give each of the residence halls a particular identity. But again, it really centralizes this circulation through campus and creates a strong campus identity. Going to the east side of campus, again, this kind of a lot of the buildings in the center part will remain. The newer baseball fields, softball fields, student services, mixed use, all of these things are kind of going to be going around the perimeter of the campus, as well as new parking next to the athletic field. Continuing on with the different campuses, the South Campus will remain relatively as it is, except for with the addition of a boathouse to support the sailing and the rowing programs. I have a particular interest in the rowing program. I rowed for Riverview High School a million years ago, so I'm excited to see that happening. And then the North Campus, this is newly acquired, and I think we have in the phase 1 an educational contemplative center that will go up in the corner there, and then the larger Freedom Institute, and that's in the third phase of the master plan. These are, so the next 3 slides are kind of the core infrastructure things. These are requirements for the master plan, but they're very important to get these all these issues through the regulatory agencies. Because as we increase students, as we increase buildings, as we increase circulation in campus, all of that infrastructure really needs to be in place, or a plan for that infrastructure, so that when the president starts pursuing these buildings on the aggressive timeline that he wants to, that all of those things are in place. So this is a new stormwater system and capacities that take into consideration all of the new buildings. Again, sanitary sewer and potable water. Transportation, I think this is a really critical one, both from the standpoint of vehicular and pedestrian. I think I have a slide focusing on the smaller area around Bayshore, but I just wanted to point out we have a number of new parking areas spread out through campus. These are all sized so that they could be low-rise parking garages as well. So we have a large one planned for the east side of campus. And then we have smaller parking lots kind of spread throughout, but 2 new large parking areas up to the north of the quad, and then to the south, kind of behind Cook there. I think it's 8, is another area for a new larger parking area that could be a low-rise parking garage at some point as well. This is one of the areas that we're really focused on is Bayshore. Again, this is one of those things that bifurcates campus. There's a tremendous amount of pedestrian traffic that is going east-west, and then we have a lot of vehicular traffic going north-south. So we really wanted to do what we could to calm that. So we're suggesting lower speed limits and traffic calming there to kind of, and also taking the pedestrian traffic that's coming across the bridge and kind of splitting it around a new fountain and taking it through part of that traffic through the main gate into the quad, and the other part more dedicated to the residences. And I think that's it for my slides. Back to President.
All right, can you hear me okay? Yeah. All right, I'll do this so I can see the questions. First, I want to thank Alejandro Martinez, our Vice President, and Kyla Baldonado, our Trustee and President. This whole meeting was their idea to engage the faculty, staff, and students. Obviously, the public are welcome too, and have a Q&A question and answer period. So we'll do that in a second. The other thing I just want to say is, even though we have these meetings, or you come to my office and you ask me questions, or whatever it might be, or you talk to one of the vice presidents, the website's open 24/7. So if you leave and you go home and in 5 minutes you have another question or another thought, we should do this, and you put it on the website, it's no different than if you just asked me right in this meeting. It's documented, it's in the record, and it's evaluated. So basically, public comment is open and has been open for 2 years. So any ideas you guys have, any thoughts you have, just send them to us. We put them on that page, we document it. Anyone can access it, our trustees access it. Everyone can see whatever thoughts, comments you have, and that hopefully will lead to a great decision at the end. With that though, I'll be glad to take any questions. All right. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about the extension of Uplands Boulevard to connect the 2 campuses. What exactly is the plan?
Yeah, I'm terrible with computers, but let me see. I think I can get back there. And I get this question a lot when I see Uplands folks. The short answer is there'll be no connection. In the final master plan, when we do it, the only thing that we will do, there'll be a cart path access type thing, but no road through for vehicles.
No road.
That's correct, no road.
That's a promise.
Promise.
Where's the performance stage going in?
Yeah, sorry, man, that got bright over here really fast.
You need sunglasses.
I need worse. the performance stage. I don't have a pointer, but if you can see, actually we could probably blow it up to one of the other ones real fast. This is probably the best one. Do you see up here where it says W34? You see these are the volleyball courts, then that's the open park field, and then right above it you see a red building.
Yeah,
Who's asking me the question?
me.
Oh, sorry. Okay, but that's too far. Really, it goes, did you get a chance to see the soccer game the other night?
No.
Yes.
Do you see where the soccer field was?
Uh-huh.
I've actually shown Peter the general aspect, but it's really right just where the field stops. And then let's say the nets are right here. The net for the soccer game is right here. And you're looking north.
Right,
So
right.
there's the soccer field, I'm looking north. Just to the left of it, you'll see an opening.
Right.
That would be right on the field, and it's kind of center, a little center right of the
Big
field.
oak tree.
Yeah,
Is that written in stone?
It's in the, again, on the master plan, I get asked a lot of times, what does the architectural drawing look like? Can we see it? Can we see it? Well, they don't require that. All they tell you is, all they say is, where are you gonna plan buildings? What are those buildings gonna be for? And put them on a map. Obviously, if they asked us to do architectural renderings, Glenn Darling would be a very rich man because we'd have to do architectural drawings. We'd have to get 3 different drawings, 3 different bids, and then we might not do, Jono knows it better than I do. The last master plan that Jono was a part of, I'm gonna say, Johnny can correct me, but I'm gonna say there was 30-some buildings that were gonna be built over the next decade.
Right.
One got built. And it's not gonna be, it'll be different for us, we'll be a little bit more aggressive, but I mean, you're looking at, I don't know, 50 buildings. If 25 get built, it's an amazing, successful master plan. So you have that aspect. So, yeah, the fact that it's on the master plan, I would tell you that's a big one. We really would, I think it's a great community outreach, a great thing for the college, a great thing for the students. So that would be one that would be a higher
Is there a
priority.
possibility of maybe moving it somewhere else?
No.
Yeah, I want to ask too, because you said the soccer field will be moved somewhere else.
Yeah,
So that being the case, why not move that to where the soccer field is?
Oh, you could do that. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah,
I
I'm
think
sure.
that's what we're
Or I
asking.
thought you meant like somewhere else altogether.
No.
Oh, no, it's in that,
In
I
other
mean,
words, instead of
you can see in the
ruining more
master plan,
trees.
that's probably, I mean, I'm just eyeballing it, that's 25 yards past the soccer field, it's not where.
And that new park up front, that's looking pretty good.
Yeah, that looks
I thought,
pretty
well,
good.
there's a
Come
parking
on.
lot there
Throw me a
already.
bone, this is like amazing, that park.
We haven't
It's the
seen
prettiest
it.
park in Sarasota. Where's the commissioner? I'm gonna get in trouble. You'll see, Commissioner, when it's done, it's gonna be the prettiest park.
So this whole thing.
And I'll tell you, I'll go back on that one. And this is why I want you guys to really, I think there's this thought that, you know, we have a dark chamber, we sit in the dark chamber, and we decide, okay, here's what we're really doing, here's the final, we'll just do these machinations. Glenn will tell you, he's our architect, he will tell you, he would love to fire, if he could fire me, I would have been fired 1.5 years ago. I'm not even joking, because I look at it, I say to him, I just sat there next to him, and I said to him, I go, you know, the problem with the master plan is you stare at it for 20 minutes and you make changes. And he goes, I know you do. But I want to, oh, this is loud. I want to show you, let me go to the big one. See, like right here, so, and again, Glenn and where's our lawyer, you correct me if I say anything wrong, because I don't want to get it. But what I've been told is on a master plan, you over-guess. You know, because just like the last one, you had 50 buildings or 30 buildings, only one got built in over a decade. You know, this one we have 50 buildings, 70 buildings, and I told you, if we get to like half of it, it's an amazing success story in a master plan process, unless you're UF or FSU and they have unlimited money. But, so what we did is we said, okay, where could we have growth, where we could have buildings? So we have all of these right here. You see it from here all the way over.
Yeah.
I can tell you my personal preference, I'm not a trustee, Kyla can tell me, you know, pipe down, President. But I can tell you, I don't really anticipate ever building those. I think we need, this would be like a student center, and we need that fast. And that we already got $5 million for in the legislature, give or take. 6, Christie, or 5? And then these two, we definitely need. After that, it really depends on so many factors that would be determined over the next 10 years. So literally, I can honestly tell you that from here over on the Dort walkway might not be needed. Then we have 4 here and 3 here, and I really think now that a lot of these houses went up for sale, we have access now to the pre-K that we own. I think you can end up seeing, and then we have this property down here we're putting right now, if you drive by, you can see it's a flat parking lot. It'll be nice shell, very pretty. But really what, because we want to have it all be like one unified campus, we could do 4 housing units there, and we could do 3 or 4 here. And then as we acquire these properties, this could be parking and even a parking garage. So I'm just saying it's a really flexible thing. We got to err on the side of, okay, what can we do? And then what that allows us to do is, if you see way at the top, you see like there's the new park you just mentioned, then there's the field, then on the other side it's white. You see all the white, that's the USF campus. That's a really big factor in the whole decision-making process. So here's the park, then there's the parking, that's all already New College property. And then above that is USF, and then way up there is USF. Well, right now we have 100, I'm gonna use round numbers, 150 beds in the new dormitory at USF. They still have 50 more beds. That negotiation almost went through last legislative session with the blessing of everybody. USF, New College, House, Senate, it just got, as many things do in making sausage, it gets ugly and it got crazy. But I think that that's a high likelihood. Well, if that happens, we have 50 more beds at USF, they're brand new. So that takes it, why do you need 50 beds here? You don't need 50 beds, you just got 50 beds up there. And then we want to build out our campus. So like right down here where we talk about the boathouse, on the boathouse, we use Caples right now for our master's program in marine mammal. We started it last year. They already doubled in size and capacity. It's just been a huge hit. They meet in the classrooms in the Caples mansion. I mean, imagine you get to take your classes in a mansion, and then if we build a boathouse, on the top floor would be housing. Maybe that's 30 or 50 beds. All the Freedom Center might be 30, 50 beds, and that might be more for visiting faculty from around the world, whatever. My point in saying that is, and then each of these, much like the letter dorms, these are all about 30 beds. So, let's say we got 30 beds out of all of these. Well, you got 250 beds on the side. These could be anywhere from 300 to 150 to 300. So you're looking at 300 to 600 beds, depending on what the ultimate drawings are. But you have 600 beds there. You have an extra 30 beds here. You have 250 beds here. You get an extra 50 beds up there. You have 400 beds already on campus. Well, we're talking about growing to 1,500 students. You have a bed for everybody. We don't need any of this. If all that happened, you don't need any of this. And that begs the question, if we don't need any of that, I think one of the neat things that is being bantered about because of, you like our park, the new park. Well, that park, you can imagine it going, let's say we did get USF, well then it cuts over Coffee, what's the name of the road in between us and USF? Does that even have a name? Is that Bayshore continuing? Where it goes down the park and then goes right between us and where the old books were.
Seagate?
Seagate? So it would cut over Seagate, and then that whole USF part, which is in the RPZ, most of it's in the RPZ zone, would be torn down, and then you have all of this is no longer built. You could see a park that goes from the white area right above all the way down to 58th Street. Just a beautiful, massive park, much like you see right now that's being built on the side of College. And that one in the side of College, it's not done yet. I'll get the final numbers for you guys, but I want to say it's close to, I hate to say numbers, it's over 500. It's over 500 trees, bushes, shrubs, everything from cypress to oak to palm. It's just gorgeous. And you're gonna see it when it's done in like 2 or 3 weeks. But when it grows out, it's just gonna be amazing. And what we're talking about doing is taking it across, and then you'd have like a pond feature with a fountain, a pond feature with a fountain, and the park would continue. So if you drive down Bayshore and you look to the left, you're like, what the heck is that? It's one of the most amazing parks you'll ever see in your life. And it's just great for campus life.
For the performance stage.
What's that?
That would be a good spot for your performance stage. Everybody can see it from 41.
I hear you.
Yeah, and speaking of the performance stage, why can't it be moved down to where the soccer field will be abandoned rather than going into the woods and perhaps
It's not
losing,
gonna-
and
no, I'm
perhaps
it would-
losing more trees?
No, it would be on the edge. Oh, we'll fix that in the final. Can you do that? God, I get this question a lot. Can we just put it right there on the edge of the soccer field? Yes.
So, just maybe blue sky thinking, whether or not, I'm wondering whether or not, there was some discussion and it was in the news about everything being, joined or something. But is there a possibility to get an easement so that you can have a path from North Campus all the way down and then a circuit? You know, these things, would it be possible to have a single path? You have all these parks, if USF comes through, you could walk a giant path continuously. It would be really pretty cool for anyone who wants to enjoy the parks, the nature, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you guys, I don't know if you understand this question, but this white part is FSU. And it's closed off in part, in defending FSU. I mean, if we managed it, it would not.
That's Ringling.
I mean, Raymond, but it's FSU.
Yeah.
It's FSU managed is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah,
So
okay.
the fight over is whether we should manage it or FSU should continue to manage it. The good news is they just spent about probably $1 million in rehab, painting, and landscaping, which is really wonderful that they haven't done it who knows how long, but I know why they did it. Which is great. That's, we want a beautiful place. We're glad to inspire people. But this whole piece, if you come down, we're right here. If you come down the road, you get all the way down to the Caples, right here. We have the beach area, and then we have the dock, and then we have a little walkway that goes to FSU. Then they have a walkway that goes all the way down, goes to the back of Catazan, and then comes out about a quarter of the way from here to our fence line. And then when you get to our fence line, we have a walkway that goes all the way down here to our big dock, and then continues to about right here. And then there's nothing from here all the way down to the Powell Crossley. We just got, well, we're in the process. For the first time 2 years ago, we put money, we asked for money from the federal government, which we hadn't done, and we asked for $5 million or something. I think we're gonna get, and one of the biggest things we wanted to do, to your point, Professor, is have that walkway just, so we can't control that. We can't control FSU. They're not gonna let us, but it's only really this much of a piece for FSU. And for us, we could start it, so even if there isn't agreement between all the groups, we can get from our dock about right here, all the way down to the Powell Crossley, and then ultimately we'd have to work it out with the city of Manatee, the county of Manatee. So we just, literally, we asked for $5 million, I think it was like $3 million for the walkway and $2 million maybe for Caples. We just got word that we're in the budget for $800,000. So it's not what we need, obviously, but we can certainly start, to your question, Professor, we can start from where this is right here. We can get probably, maybe down here. But ultimately, the whole goal, and honestly, I stole it from John Miller, so I'll give him credit. But one of the first times I met him, he was saying there was a plan that had the walkway where anybody, the public or whatever, could come onto the campus from Caples and go all the way up the historic district to Powell Crossley. So that's why we asked for the money. It's also good for resilience. It helps us with resiliency. And so hopefully that happens, but we'll know shortly that we get that $800,000 and we'll immediately get architectural drawings and try to go continue that walkway as far as we can.
Are you gonna leave any of the trees this time?
Yes,
Last time you mowed them all down.
I got you. And just, because the number, I think, and it's a public record. You can ask us for the public record of the contract that we had with the folks. I'm gonna round quote. It was about 72 trees. Again, I'll give credit to John Miller. I wouldn't have thought about it except for Jono. But he said a lot of those that weren't, the palms that weren't attached to the bases of the pine trees could be transplanted. So if you leave today and you drive down the road and you look to the left, I want to say 22 were transplanted on this property. So 22 got transplanted, give or take, it was 50 trees. Of the 50 trees, we talked to our biologists, we talked to a lot of people, and I would say probably half of them were the palms that were attached to quote unquote end of life pines. Regardless, I assure you, the park in the front is more than twice what was taken down. Wherever we can plant trees, wherever we can have greater landscaping, greater just beauty and preservation, we're going to try to do it.
On the architectural drawings for the building of that field, all of the trees were identified, and there were 150 of them.
Well, I can show you the contract. Peter, honestly, Christy Fitzpatrick, C. Fitzpatrick at ncf.edu. I'll be glad to give you the contract of what was taken down. It was 70-something trees, 72 trees. Yes.
Tell me about the dock that is on the west campus jutting into the bay.
You know, that was,
I'm having trouble hearing you.
can you hear it, copy?
I'm having trouble hearing you. When you face the screen,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I won't talk when I face the screen. I just did it. She was asking about the dock. You see the dock that juts out? She was asking about the dock, and I forgot your first name, I apologize.
Julie.
Sorry, Julie. And that was really a brainstorm of when I got here 2.5 years ago, you guys were in the middle of the architectural challenge, and we had like the 4 universities or 3 universities, and they were all doing a redo of what could the campus look like. And numerous ones of the drawings, and it was at Architecture Sarasota, and a lot of them included the waterway as much as they could into this campus. And so what we did is we took the least expensive concept of what they did of trying to bring in the waterway into the campus. I mean, they had us having a river that went basically from Bayshore all the way down to the water, and it's like, I mean, okay, there goes $1 billion that I don't have. But what we did try to do is to bring in the waterway, and Glenn had seen all of the proposals from the challenge, is we added that as another way of trying to bring in the water and get people involved in the water and do it in a environmentally safe way.
So is it going to have light penetration to the seagrass underneath it?
Whatever we would do, I mean, again, we don't do any architectural drawings. It's a concept of having that go out there. We would do, in fact, someone asked about, because I think they thought it's a permanent soccer field or whatever, but we really call it, as much as we can internally, we call it a park, where they are, right? Because that soccer field, in fact, someone asked where it was. I can find it for you. The soccer field is right here. Do you see it?
The new one you're gonna put in.
That's the main one. That is the real soccer field. So when you come over the bridge, you come into a field house, and that's where the basketball, men and women's basketball, volleyball, meetings, forums, whatever, would be in the field house. And then the field house looks out onto the soccer field. And that would be the men and women's soccer and men and women's lacrosse once we build out those sports. So it's really just we just call it a park, but we'll use it temporarily until we can get that built. Yes. ma'am.
I just want you, for my peace of mind, it sounds like you're fully committed to preserving what the natural bayfront that remains between what is now the soccer field and the USF campus, that will remain untouched.
We're gonna do a maybe 200,000 square foot, 24-story condo, but after that we're done. After that we're done. Yes, you have my word. You guys are very persuasive, and we want to be good neighbors. It was so exciting to see Peter and Karen was out there. A couple of you guys were out there watching it. We want to have a great relationship with you guys. So the first iteration of this master plan, I'm trying to remember all of them, but one was we closed Bayshore, I think, and you didn't want to do that. We had the Freedom Center on right south of where Peter and Karen are, and then I thought I heard that, hey, move the Freedom Center over there and move the dorm over, so we moved the dorm over, and you didn't want the dorm there, and then you didn't want the road going through on Uplands Boulevard. We agree to all. We agree to all. What you see right now is what you get, but for the Performing Arts Center, and we would definitely have a place down by the soccer fields where you guys were, Peter, we'll have where you can get a cart up and down, and you guys can use it. We won't fence it off. We won't gate it. It'll be cart access.
There won't be any traffic coming into the uplands.
No, and if we do anything down there, like we did for the soccer, we had our police force, we had student athletes, we had everybody, and if anybody came down that street, Peter will tell you, they were stopped, they were asked what they were doing. If they were residents, like, hey, no problem, we're just checking. But if they said, we're here to watch the soccer match, they were sent all the way back to the campus to park on campus property.
Good.
And there was nobody there the entire game.
I think you just said Performance Arts Center, do you mean the performance stage?
What did I say about the Performance Arts Center?
I don't know, is there one?
No, I'm telling you, everything I'm telling you, I don't know,
Because you
I'm
just said
speaking
that.
fast.
Yeah,
No, the performance stage.
okay,
Yeah.
I thought I missed a building,
No, the Performance Arts building is gonna go right across the street of the condo that's 24 stories.
gotcha.
There's nothing going on what you see is what you get. You can film me, are you filming me? What you see is what you get. It's the field, hold on one second. It's the field, with the stage that we've talked about, and a cart access. And I've told Peter we call it the Bond Senior House, which is our psychology building. That goes away too, so you even have a better unobstructed view of the entire campus.
Sorry, just 1 second.
Sorry.
Speaking of the students and performing arts, just doing my civic duty that a couple students have had their hands raised.
Oh, sorry guys, or girls. Yes, go ahead.
So actually it is very related to the performing arts. So one of the things that was my main motivation coming to New College 2 years ago was the separation of my social residential life and my academics. And I understand with expansion that there needs to be housing on that side, but something I see today that really concerns me is that my main social area where I go to see our shows in support of your kids, where our Senate meetings are, where the dining hall is, I see a parking garage. And I understand expansion and needing parking, and also needing a bigger dining hall. It is overwhelming this year, guys. There's a lot of kids. But, that's just kind of concerning to me, because AM is important to a lot of people.
So, and hopefully it'll be gradual, but what you're talking about, what you like, it'll migrate over the next 3 years
Yeah.
to where you're living, where you're hanging out, and what have you is over on the west side.
Yeah, I just mean for future kids like me, that the fact that it was a motivating factor for me to be here was the fact that I can sit in the dining hall and not have to see any classrooms.
Yeah.
Just wanted to use my voice for that.
Well, and when we get to that, we call it the Rice Building. So we have, thanks to Glenn, we did a bunch of mock-ups of different buildings, really to inspire donors. Not the actual thing, but he came up with this concept of, we call the Rice Building. So and that would be all student center. It would be right by the Four Winds Cafe. It would have an arch, so it would go arch all the way to College Hall. But that would be all a brand, much bigger space for obviously dining.
Yeah.
And hopefully you wouldn't have any waits or what have you. And you'd still be able to see though, probably Heiser.
Is that where the new black box would be?
The new black box would be, that would be one of the spots. There could be multiple spots for the black box theater. But the black box theater, I don't know if they tell you, I like to think I'm one of their biggest fans. I don't miss a show. It's just an amazing little environment. The students do an amazing job. So I promise you, as long as I'm here, the black box will be rebuilt somewhere and even more technology and more opportunities. And no leaks. Let me go back to professors and see if I can get other people. Yes, ma'am.
I was a bit at your game, but it's way too hot for me at that time of the day.
I lasted a half.
But I do have a question, and where do you have restrooms for all these people that come from?
Right now, again, we try to give them notice, much like with the community. And honestly, this last one, the game was supposed to be out at Premier, which is on the other side of 75. And at the last minute, the team that we were playing said, if you want to host us, we're okay with it. But then we had to go to the conference and get their permission. So we got approval like 4 o'clock the day before, and I think we sent you out a notice like 8 a.m. the day of the game. We tried to do it, but it won't be that slow. Now we're trying to get a girls' game there in September 5th or something. So we'll send you out notice once it's approved by the NAIA. But we'll give you guys plenty, and that's why I'm trying to give you notice on the fireworks. I think someone had said to me at some point that their dogs don't like them if they could just get a heads up. So it's September 10th, 8:30 to 8:40 is the plan for the fireworks for September 11th. But all that being the case, we'll try to get you as much notice as possible and all that stuff.
Thank you. What is that right in the middle of the Uplands Preserve?
And the Uplands
Is that
Preserve.
your athletic platform that you had in the
Performance
master
stage.
plan?
Performance
That was
stage.
the performance stage, and then the master plan said it changed to an athletic platform. What is that?
There's no athletic platform.
No, it's a master plan.
Performance stage, which might be going into the soccer field.
Yes, it'll be right on the edge, I promise you. If Glenn doesn't do it, it's his fault. It's his fault. Over we had Sandra, and I'll come over. Yeah.
I'd like to
Sorry.
encourage us to consider keeping the food forest. That's been an important part of the educational program with not only faculty publications on their own, but with students. And it also helps with student food security. They can come and harvest whatever is in season, and I'd like to just maybe put a bug in your ear about preserving that in this plan.
Yeah, it is. That's.
It looks like it might be built over from.
No, it's right here. The only thing that's new on the south part of the campus is, and it's probably tier. I think you said that, did you, Glenn? That was tier 2. Is the boathouse. And the concept of the boathouse, there's again, thanks to Glenn, he did a beautiful rendering that kind of matches Caples. It has the same architectural design, but at the ground floor is all housing for 20-foot housing for boats, canoes, whatever, and it's all sealed so you can't see them. Right now it looks a little messy. And then the second floor is meeting space, rental space, everything that we try to do or build, we try to make it so that it can make the school money. So one day we can get to where we have $10 million of auxiliaries every year because we're just having all these events on beautiful venues. And so like right now, I think when I first got here, we did about $70,000 of event revenue. This year we're pushing $500,000. So, and no disruption to anyone's, we put notices that there's an event on the bay and most of it's weddings, but we do chamber events, we've done everything under the sun. And so when we build the boathouse, the concept is it could also be a rental space for meetings, a firm retreat, whatever it might be on that second floor. And then the top floor would be where we would try to do 20, 30 beds for our graduate students. But that's the only change down there for us. Yes?
I think it's unfortunate that closing Bayshore is off the table now. Can we do anything for speed abatement? Because I work in the library, so the speeding is really out of control, and I've seen several times people screeching at the pedestrian walkway. So I think it's already dangerous, and I think it will become even more dangerous.
Yeah, that doesn't have to be in our master plan, but we've been asking and working with our elected officials probably for over a year and a half on that. And probably the easiest thing, least expensive, easiest thing is some sort of speed abatement. Or an additional spots like we have that go under the arch, maybe 2 more of those too. And they're working with us, it should, just takes time. Yes, sir.
Have you thought about having planting on College Drive and Gate streets, that way it could be a big canopy road program? And Sarasota County would maintain it, generate a lot of property value for New College, and of course, it would be a lot less work for your landscaping department, which is always nice.
No, again, doesn't have to be in the master plan part of the process, but love those kind of ideas. And thanks for your great work. Yes, Professor.
On the map, it's hard for me to read, but my memory is that there's 2 buildings between Kaiser and the promenade, maybe a
Yeah,
Looks like they're all orange, meaning first phase, and those are supposed to be targeted for academics. Can you tell us about what's the intention, faculty spaces?
These two right here.
Classrooms, labs?
Yeah, those two, well, I mean, again, I don't know that we're gonna need them. I think every 6 months we find out more. So if all of a sudden we were able to, the legislature this time and the governor, and it all got worked out and we did get the USF campus, that's bigger than any building on this entire campus in terms of labs, office space, classroom space. So that takes that burden off having to do some of those construction pieces. But again, if that doesn't work out, it never works out, we have to draw a master plan that says, okay, now we gotta go down that path.
But they have no labs.
I know, but we would try to build those too. Yes?
On the current plan, you mentioned it earlier, that bond house is planning to be demolished. It's currently the central hub for psychology, which continues to be one of the most popular ASCs. So what's the timeline for that, and where will the new psych hub be moved to for faculty offices and student classrooms and lab spaces?
Part of the concept is depending on what we built and when we built, and so when I say some of this stuff, it doesn't mean it's Thursday of this week. It could be Thursday 2 years from now. But the concept is that ultimately the whole waterfront would be open and beautiful, and so that piece would have to go. If that piece went, I can assure you, as hopefully the biggest arguer for recruitment on this campus, we're very well aware of the psychology recruitment and the growth that comes from it, and so we would want that to be in a good place and have better facilities, not worse facilities. And I assure you that would be the case. Yes?
I come from Austin, Texas, which historically is a city that...
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm joking, my wife's from Austin, so I can say that.
You know, it's beautiful now. There's a lot of great things about the growth in that city. But what I saw is planning that spans so far ahead that it led to an intermediary phase which left a population with an infrastructure that couldn't support it. And it seems like the way that the master planning is going on this campus is set up to allow for as many possibilities going forward as possible, which I understand that, like, having a vision for maybe a slightly more urbanized and populated campus could lead to a lot of really cool intellectual mixing. And I see that seems to be the vision that's on the page, but I just hope that as you're planning, if we might not build certain buildings, build the buildings that you do build with the intentionality that you would lay them down in a way that they could be the ending point that really emphasizes quality over quantity in terms of how you're going to design the space. 'Cause, you know, it's the Honors College of Florida, and personally, you know, while I think preserving green spaces is really important, I also love a dense urban landscape, kind of like Pay was designed to facilitate. But when you lay out, like, oh, we could have these, you know, 5 new housing complexes, plus more beds here, plus more beds on the east side of campus, it sends a message that is a little precarious an issue in the planning that doesn't allow for growth to happen over time in a way that keeps the vision of the college from going stale as you're building.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna, you touched on a bunch of points. One, I agree, and that's part of the thing is, because the master plan process, because it's for, I mean, we could always come back and do an amended plan. And so in this 90 days, that's what I was talking to Glenn about, is I think we'll take out some of the buildings because they're just not, in my opinion, they're no longer real, given what we have. There's no growth of dorms on the east side. Those are our existing numbers of what I've told you, that number of beds that we have over there, 350. The ones that we're building, and then the whole point in talking to alumni, talking to faculty, talking to students, when I looked at student surveys on why they left, there was a general theme, and that theme was the most beautiful, greatest part of New College is the west side, and none of us are there. Why are none of us there? The only people over there are you guys administrators. You know, you need to have if you want to be great and you want to grow, you're going to have the growth on the west side. And so what we're slowly doing is moving that growth very purposefully to the west side to have that experience and that beauty for all of our students. So I'm with you. I mean, we're going to go deliberate and, but it's not, and I'll take off. I think if the trustees approve it, we'll take off a lot of the extraneous buildings because first of all, we can't get it done in 10 years. I mean, again, I keep telling you, we built one building in the last master plan, which is almost year 12. I don't know, John, if I'm somewhere in that ballpark, 16, 15. So we don't want to do that. But I get your point.
Yeah, and if you're putting student life, if the thing that you're prioritizing first is dining, theater maybe, like community centers that people move in and out of that look like life, even more so than housing, I think like bringing reasons for us to go to that side of campus is a really good one.
We'll keep doing it. That's the goal. Appreciate it. Anyone else? Maybe this man.
What is the priority of housing though? Like I see it in phase one, but I mean, even if we acquire the full USF, I mean, we still have a lot of housing that's needed and needed fast. So where is that on the list as far as priority, as far as creating those housing spaces?
It's the number one. I mean, hopefully tomorrow we have a board of trustees meeting, and I'll lay out a little bit of the vision for the next 12 months. But the goal would be on the 11th Street, on the 58th Street housing, that we would break ground on these in the beginning of the year. So that would begin the beginning of the year. We probably are going to need, even if we broke ground and talking to the construction folks and all the people that are interested in helping, that would take us probably to January of next year. So we would still need a hotel for half the year, even if we did get USF and got the extra 50 beds, and we grew by another 100 students, or over 1,000. There's a very seldom a day that doesn't go by where we don't do the math. How many students, how many beds, where are we getting them? The portables, we got them down to 120 beds. We had the 2 hurricanes. They ripped them apart. Now we've taken them off the campus. So those 120 are gone. The nice thing is FEMA backfills us not just the cost and reimburses us for the destruction and the removal, also get reimbursed for displacement of students for multiple years. So that was actually gives us a little bit more time where we don't have to worry about this expensive bill at the hotel because it's actually being backfilled. But yeah, every day we calculate where the students are, where's our housing. Yes?
I saw you have a lot of information about green rooftops and like other environmental mitigation strategies. Were you going to be putting in green rooftops on these new buildings? Are you partnering with Selby Gardens on that?
Yeah, those are things that we'd want to do in the master plan process, is start talking, okay, what are your design ideas? What are your design ideas that are environmental, that are cost efficient, et cetera, et cetera. But that's not, right now we're just saying where the buildings would go. Yes?
Okay, so I love that you've got life getting put on the west side of campus. draconian. It's intense. And right now I see athletes on one side of the highway, not athletes on the other side. And it seems really intentional. And I know you gotta get more.
Yeah, it's not part of the
students.
master plan, just in case other people have questions on the master plan. But if you wanna come by, you know, where I see you all the time, but if you wanna come by, I'll get you a breakdown of first year, second year, third year, fourth year, athlete, non-athlete throughout all of the housing, and you'll see there's nothing rhythmic about it. It's much more first year, second year, third year, fourth year, than it is anything to do with athletes and non-athletes.
Do you have
And we can get you those numbers specifically to each institution. And when I'm saying institution, I'm talking building.
okay, is there any planning, Glenn Darling, is there planning around keeping a unified culture at the school that's in the works, in, say, the master plan, or in future planning that's happening?
Well, that's the whole point is to move, this is all new. I mean, everything you see right here is all new. And that's to get all, you know, create like a quad of you. So if you have like sort of a quad where everyone comes out of their dorm, you know, goes into the dining hall and they're all hanging out, you create a greater sense of community all on that one side as part of the design.
Are there any athletes here currently?
Any other questions?
Do you still have to get property from the airport for the,
No, we have that property for 32 more years.
okay.
So whatever we do, I assure you, I'm guessing a lot of people in this room, myself included, will not be here to see the end of the lease.
Right.
And the airport knows that, you know, and so what the airport wants is money. So
Right.
if I was to say, and I'm not belittling the airport, we had a meeting of the minds. They had appraisers who came out and said, this is what it's worth. We had appraisers that came out and said, this is what it's worth. They said, we want this piece. They want the piece north of General Spatz. We worked it all out over, you know, a year, had an agreement, went to the FAA with the agreement, and the FAA said basically two big things. One was, nope, we might need that space for, in 32 years or whatever, we might need that space for autonomous vehicles, vehicles and drone technology. The airport, and let's just say it's 40 acres. The airport has over 50 acres on the northeast corner, and it's already in their plan for eVTOL and drone technology.
Oh, really?
Yes. So that was like, okay, that's a ridiculous excuse. The second one was, they thought the airport, even though they have Sarasota and Bradenton and Manatee, greatest attorneys, and they have greatest property advisors, we're just a college, they said that we were getting too good of a deal. $11 million wasn't enough for the property. And so, then, since that, we withdrew the application. We didn't even apply. Since that time, there's been changes in DC. FAA's reached out again, and you know, my words, not the airport's words, not the FAA, that it's going to happen, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
And it'll happen more than any other reason, because yes, do we want it to happen? 100%. Is it beneficial to New College? 100%. But it's just as, or more so beneficial to the airport and to the FAA. And so, they've never shut down negotiations and they've never shut down dialogue. But if they want to wait 32 more years, they can do it. I mean, it's no sweat off our
They
back.
probably wanna
And they'll
write
never
new
be able to
contract.
do it. In 32 years, they're never going to be able to take that property. All right, anyone else? Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate you putting this together.
Thank you.